Good morning guys, it's December 19th. Today is a Monday. I'm recording the video for Friday, December 16th. Okay, so going into the day, Dow, this 32,785 is important for buyers, 33,500 important for sellers to maintain it. So I'm covering Dow and Russell today just because they are at important levels. So you have to keep an eye on those two indexes today, 17 to 75, 70 to 75, 1806. These are the levels for the sell to keep an eye. NQ's thick blue lines, which is listed in my chart in Discord, 346 yellow line, for both of them. And then ES 3942, Globex high is important area for sellers to hold below today, possibly 3900 or 3913. 3913 became the high of the day, so levels are very good. You just have to look at it and see where price does there, and that gives you a hint. So on Friday, when this guys hold it, right, when this level held it against the morning open drive, which was for buyers, right, but this damn thing held it, and then price came down all the way down, took out the morning low. That was the sign to go for short. So as long as ES is below 12, right, which is 13 or 12 or 02, see, try to stick with sellers, assuming if it is coming from 80 to 70, right, a good support. So that means, from here it is support. So yes, obviously price may bounce, but that doesn't mean that it will go through this thing. It may go through it, but that does not justify that it will go through it. You can still favor sellers. But let's say price of the open just went down, let's say another 50 points, right, or more, and then it is coming back here, right, then it doesn't make sense to short, because now price went all the way down, more than enough, and then it bounced all the way back up. Then it seems like the buyers are in control at that point, right? So that is what I meant here. Below these things, more intraday sellers will come, and price will eventually go to this level. Strong bounce from 80-70 and price taking out 02, intraday buyers will come. So if this bounce happens and then price took out this area, then intraday buyers will come. More buyers will come. Overall, I can feel both sides being active today, and that was the case, right? Both sides were active today, buying and selling. And these are the other notes, these are the dream numbers, right? So let's go here. Right? So first thing, of the open, right? Internals were liquidation kind, right? ED was way negative. Momentum was below zero, right, because it's gapped down. And then what happened? Right of the open, price went higher, like this. See, NQ went higher, ES went higher, right? So, and it opened right around here, in this preferred buyers area. See, this area was listed as a preferred buyers area, right? And this was the key area, is this or this, right? And I also listed them both ways, right? So preferred buyers, aggressive buyers, super aggressive sellers, right, same time. So this could be aggressive buyers, could be aggressive, super aggressive sellers, right? So why I do that, right? Because price is opening up, because when I know price is opening up into the key areas, right, you never know, somebody can buy right at the gap down when it opens, because it's a key area. So that area becomes a buyer's area too, right? Or somebody becomes aggressive enough to short it right from that area, so that area becomes super aggressive sellers area, like for example this, right? So even though price was trended down in the overnight, I put this area as a preferred buyers area and this area as a super aggressive and aggressive buyers area. See, so by putting it this way, if price, let's say, opens right here, let's say, and then shoots higher, take out 13, right? So if my preferred buyers area is here and this area is listed only as an aggressive sellers area, you have no clue why buyers came in there from there, right? But when it opens here and take out this area, right, and this, and then if you see aggressive buyer listed here and aggressive sellers listed here, at least that somebody is aggressive enough to buy it right from here, and they took out aggressive sellers area. In that case, most likely price will go to this area, which is listed as a preferred sellers area, which is like this. See, right? So that's how this writing makes sense. You have to just plug it in. So now here, right? So while we are here, it was open, right? Of the open, look at NQ, right? And we discussed these scenarios also. So this was not like surprise. We discussed this scenario that this area is important. Most likely it will open up here, right? In pre-market voice, and NQ may open right into this area, and somebody may buy right from here, and price may go higher. But if it goes higher, we have to see what internals are doing and how price is moving higher, and then we may choose to go long also. But it has to bare minimum go above aggressive sellers area, then we can jump on board for the longs. Yes, it's too late, but we can take a pullbacks. But if it doesn't do that, get a rejection, right? Then depending on the internals and opening price, we have to see whether we have to short here or wait, which is this waiting time. See, this is what we waited for, right? That we waited because of the open. If you can see, it's an open drive, right? So it doesn't make sense to fade it right there, because now price was oversold in the overnight, and then it's coming from this yellow line, right? So could be the legit buyer, and right of the open we discussed this scenario that buyers may step in right from here. So we don't want to just fade it against them, right? We have to wait. And this area also same thing. So buying came from the valid level, so we have to wait. Then of the open, after the open in Discord, I said ES went to 3900, right? Someone can choose to short there if they want to, but your stop has to be about this then, right? Or you can wait to see, because now it's an open drive, right? Let price comes down, and price came down, but it held this area, see, right here, right? And then it went higher. So now it is building a stepping up position, right? Like a direction, stepping up. So now no point to short here even, right? Because since it's an aggressive sellers area, if it was a preferred sellers area, you could have shorted it right there, But still, I wouldn't recommend to short it right there, right? Instead, you wait for a pause, like this. See that? And then zoom in like this here. See that pause, right? And then there was a breakdown right here. So you can short at 3904, 03, 02. Right? That is fine, because internals, only way you can short here is because of this. See, momentum was completely below zero line. It was not above holding it, right? Internals were negative too, correct? Now only problem here is your stop, because price was here in a stepping up fashion. It could have gone to fill this gap, right? So if you short here, there is a risk that it may go fill the gap, right? So at least your stop has to be above gap, correct? But if you wait, then if you see this balance, then breakdown, and then if you see internal are still holding below zero line, right? Then you can short aggressively here if you want to. Otherwise, I would prefer price to go below at least this area, right? This is what essentially that is what I did. I shorted here, right? Later, and then I captured up to backup buyers area. So that same thing in NQ. So because these buyers were there, right? So I want price to take out those buyers, then short it right here at pullback, and then target this yellow line or global slow, and that was my trade. Friday it was one trade, I was done, right? And that was it is, right? And then you have to just see, how price is moving. It was a quadruple witching, so I would suggest not to trade on those days. Avoid those days, don't trade it, because there is no direction here, even though it moves like this, right? So day trading, you can get a trade out of it, but there is no direction. You're just trading for trading, So quadruple witching and other days, certain days, FOMC, those are one-time events. So I would suggest, don't trade those kind of days. If you are like new traders, if you're experienced traders, went through couple of quadruple witchings, what we are doing, then you can trade those days. Otherwise, avoid it, It's better to avoid it. At least you are not losing money, right? That is the key. So avoid these days, But this was a good trade, When you are watching it patiently, see, we waited. Patience is the key here, right? So we waited. When finally this happened, then we took one trade. But it's a high probability trade, So If you really want to trade on these days, you have to wait, you know. And then after that, I did not trade it. I did not even bother to look at the price, you know. Once I know it's a quadruple witching, right? I got my trade out. It's a Friday, you know. I don't want to trade, right? And you can see it here. Even though if you are trading it, price was, look at this yellow line, right? Up, down, up, down, up, down. Look at how many times it bounced from global low. Even though it broke down here, you know, it's like a barely mini breakdown, right? And price is not going anywhere. There are a lot of parties involved in this area. And you can see it, this area keep testing it, keep testing it. Finally it went through it, right? Looks like now here you are thinking, you know, see, this is the problem. If you trade on these days, and let's say if you waited here, right, and then there is a breakout, right, you are thinking now it's gonna reverse back up, right? And then right here you can see it was stepping up, and then look what happened. See that? So it's easy to get trapped, you know? And here I knew, you know, when price was doing like this, I typed in Discord, you know, that price may go to 90s in ES and this 400 in NQ, you know, when it was here, you know. So you wanna see it? Look here, 2:09 p.m. right? So 2:09 is right here. Price was here, right? And I knew these are the resistance prices, you know, balancing here, right? All this thing. But look here, I would be surprised if ES goes to 94,000 again and NQ maybe 382 near closing, right? So 382, see that? 3:36 p.m. and 94,000 this area. See, so on some days I knew, you know, that eventually it may go there, you know, but doesn't mean I have to trade it, right? Because I typed the statement here, right, or right here, and then price did went go higher, right? So if you assume that, hey, statement is true, now it's gonna go higher in one shot, then you're wrong, right? It went down again, then again it went higher, right? Now you are thinking it's gonna go higher, then again it went down, right? Then it went up, see that? So eventually it will go, but you need to, there is a specific way to trade this kind of stuff, you know. Otherwise don't bother to trade, you know. And that be all for today. I'll see you on Monday.